Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to go ahead and make this snail cam from the drawing that we've created over the last couple of days. So here we have our cam. We've already taken all the measurements, so let's go ahead and see what it takes to make it in CAD. Head on over to CAD. We are now in OnShape, and we are in a part studio that we are going to create. I've got got a blank part studio. I'm going to rename that part studio Automata Parts. And we're going to use the front plane to create our sketch. If we check out our design here, we can see that we have some variables. We have diameter, axle width, and material thickness. So we're going to go ahead and set those variables up first. In order to set up variables on the right-hand side, you'll find the variable table, little x, and we have our three variables, which are diameter, axle width, and remember that you can't leave spaces, so I'm putting an underscore between axle and width, and material thickness. And to start this off, we're going to set those all as lengths. And we're going to have an initial value for the diameter as 1.5. For the axle width at 0.25. And material thickness will be at 0.2. You can see that as we set those up, they pop up automatically in our features browser on the left. I'm going to go ahead and hide my plane, so tapping the letter P on my keyboard. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and name my sketch. We'll call this sketch Snail Cam. Now, looking back at our design, what does our design look like? We have two circles that are tangent to each other. We have a large circle and a smaller circle. So that means they have different centers. So we will draw two circles, a large circle and a small circle that are tangent to each other. We'll draw the first circle on the origin. I'll make it pretty easy. And then we'll draw the second circle vertically aligned with the first circle. So we'll hover over the origin, bring our mouse down, and then draw. Right now you can see that I'm having a hard time identifying that tangent edge. So I'm just going to make it somewhere that's not tangent, and we'll move it. You can see I've got my circle. It moves up and down. They're two different sizes. I can't move it left and right. It does have vertical constraint. So now it's just a matter of making them tangent to each other. The tangent constraint is on your drop-down menu. The shortcut key for tangent is T. So click on T or click that tangent drop-down menu or tangent tool from the menu. And it's just then a matter of selecting the two entities, the two circles that you want to be touching each other. And now you can see we have two circles that are tangent to each other. So that means, remember, tangent touches at one and only one point, and our circles are touching down here at the bottom. Going back to our sketch, you can see we need to have a vertical line, and we're going to cut away this yellow section. So we'll go ahead and add that vertical line. So it's just a line. We will line it up with our origin center point, and we'll go from one circle to the next. Now it's just a matter of trimming away the excess material, the excess lines. Trim tool is up on your tool ribbon. It's a pair of scissors. M is the shortcut key. And now you can see we have the general shape for our cam. Looking at our sketch, the last thing, we have a square hole in the center. My sketch doesn't show that very clearly, but I can tell you that it is a square and that will have a dimension of axle width. So I'm going to use, since I'm going to make a square and it's going to be centered, we're going to use the center point rectangle, which is shortcut key R from your tool ribbon. We use the origin as the center point. And draw a rectangle. Now the rectangle tool is what we have. We don't have a square tool. So we want to make that into a square. We're going to go ahead and make the two adjacent sides of the square equal. Equal is E on your keyboard. You can also get it from the drop-down menu. So now we have all of the shapes that we need to make our cam. You see everything is still blue, everything is still able to be adjusted, so we need to do some dimensioning to get this working. Looking at our sketch, you can see that the distance, the radius of this outer arc is half the diameter, or it's half d from our variable table. So d diameter 1.5. So this radius, of course, is half diameter. So we'll take our dimension tool, click on that radius. All right, type in diameter. And it's half, so it's going to be divided by 2. And you save that, you'll see that it turns black. Everything is ready to roll. So one of our dimensions is set. The rest of our dimensions are not yet set, so we will go on to our sketch and see what's next. We can look in here and see that line AJ is 1/4 D. AJ right here is 1/4 D. Point AJ. So that's the short line segment right there. So this short line segment, the only line segment we have, is 1/4 the diameter. So 1 divided by 4 times diameter. 1/4 diameter. Save that. You'll see that it automatically does the calculation for us. And everything has turned black except for our square in the middle. So let's go back and see what that says. And that's going to be our axle width. Not to mention on the sketch, but I can tell you right now that it's the axle width. That's our axle. So we will go ahead and put a dimension on one of those sides. And we'll call that axle width. Select that from our menu, and that's it. We are done with the sketch. Now it's just a matter of turning that into a 3D shape. To turn that into 3D shape, we're going to extrude. We'll call that extrusion snail cam. We're going to create, that's going to be a solid part, new material. I'm going to go blind depth of material thickness. And we're going to select this face to turn into our object. And there you have it. There is our snail cam. Last thing to do is give it a name. There's our new part has appeared. Now if we want to add a material, let's go ahead and add a material. We'll pick a wood material. We'll use basswood. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and edit the appearance. Let's give it a nice color. There it is. There's your snail cam. All right, enjoy. Good luck. Have fun. And as always, keep being awesome.